Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what are your funniest NSFW jokes? A penguin's a/C in his car goes out while driving through town on a hot day. He pulls into a mechanic repair shop to have them take a look at it. While waiting, the penguin feels it's too hot to just be standing around waiting, so he waddles over to the ice cream store and orders an ice cream cone to cool off. He heads back to the mechanic after they finish diagnosing the issue with his car. "It looks like you blew a seal," the mechanic told him. "What?" "No," the penguin says while wiping his chin. "That's just ice cream. I've heard variants of this one where they get more specific about the ice cream melting all over him, but they kinda give the punchline away. I like this one better. My friend told me this joke 20 plus years ago, and no telling where he got it from." By this point 2 decades later, no telling how many posts and variations of this NSFW joke are out there today on the internet. Larry comes home to find a gorilla on his roof. After calling several animal control numbers in the phone book, he finally calls a man who thinks he can handle this gorilla. The man arrives at the house in a white pickup truck with his dog in the passenger seat and a rifle in the back. He hands the rifle to Larry and says, "So here's what we're gonna do, I'm going to climb up onto your roof and scare the gorilla off. Once he hits the ground, I've trained my dog to go bite his nuts and shake them until the gorilla passes out. After that I'll load him up and go release him in the hills." Larry thinks about it and decides the plan isn't half bad and may actually work. "But why'd you give me the rifle? If I fall off the roof, shoot the dog." Edit: "Oh, didn't expect this to blow up, thanks all for the awards. I had archived it from r/jokes sometime in the last decade. Glad I was able to make so many people laugh today. This one legit made me laugh, haha." Joe wanted to buy a Harley motorcycle. He doesn't have much luck, until one day, he comes across a Harley with a for sale sign on it. The bike looks better than a new one, although it is 10 years old. It's shiny and in great condition. He buys it and asks the seller how he kept it in such great condition for 10 years. "Well, it's quite simple," says the seller. "Whenever the bike is outside and it's gonna rain, rub Vaseline on the chrome as it protects it from the rain," and he hands Joe a jar of Vaseline. That night, his girlfriend, Sandra, invites him over to meet her parents. Naturally, they take the bike there. Just before they enter the house, Sandra stops him and says, "I have to tell you something about my family. When we eat dinner, we don't talk. In fact, the first person who says anything during dinner has to do the dishes." "No problem," he says. And in they go. Joe is shocked. Right in the middle of the living room is a huge stack of dirty dishes. In the kitchen is another huge stack of dishes. Piled up on the stairs, in the corridor, everywhere he looks, dirty dishes. They sit down to dinner, and sure enough, no one says a word. As dinner progresses, Joe decides to take advantage of the situation. He leans over and kisses Sandra. No one says a word. He reaches over and fondles her breasts. Nobody says a word. So he stands up, grabs her, rips her clothes off, throws her on the table and screws her, right there in front of her parents. His girlfriend is a little flustered, her dad is obviously livid and her mom horrified when he sits back down, but no one says a word. He looks at her mom. She's got a great body too. Joe grabs mom, bends her over the table, pulls down her panties, and screws her every which way but loose right there on the dinner table. She has a big orgasm, and Joe sits down. His girlfriend is furious, her dad is boiling, and mom is beaming from ear to ear. But still. Total silence. All of a sudden there is a loud clap of thunder, and it starts to rain. Joe remembers his bike, so he pulls the jar of Vaseline from his pocket. Suddenly the father shouts, "I'll do the fucky dishes." My new favorite joke. Sex is like playing bridge. If you don't have a good partner, you better have a good hand. 2 men are out hunting. One of them goes into the bushes to take a leak. A few moments later, there's a scream. The man's buddy runs up. "What happened to you?" The buddy asks. "A snake bit me in the dick." He answers, pointing to said snake, "Kicked to death. Call the doctors." The buddy picks up his phone, makes the call. "Doctor's office, how can we help you?" "My friend got bitten by a snake." "What did it look like?" "Red with yellow stripes." "I see. You have to suck out the poison, understand? Yes, I understand. He hangs up. Come on, what did they say? She says you're dead, mate. This is Australia, ain't it? I don't think a location was ever specified, but the last line definitely feels like it needs an Australian accent to me. A guy walks up to a whorehouse. There's a sign on it that says, "We're closed." Beat it. For a second I read that as warehouse somehow, lol. I'd hope nothing weird goes on in there. Warehouse closed, handle your own package. Two guys ring the bell of the brothel. The madam opens the door. What do you want? What can we get for $5? For $5 you can jerk each other off in those bushes over there. She shuts the door. A few minutes later the bell rings again. The madam opens the door. It's the same two guys. Who do we pay? A young man walks up and sits down at the bar. What can I get you? The bartender inquires. I want 6 shots of Jägermeister, responded the young man. 6 shots? Are you celebrating something? Yeah, my first blowjob. Well, in that case, let me give you a 7th on the house. No offense, sir. But if 6 shots won't get rid of the taste, nothing will. A cleaner version. A man asks for 5 whiskeys and drinks them instantly. The barman says that was quick. You'd drink them quickly if you had what I had, replies the man. Osh, what's that? Said the barman sympathetically. The man answers, no money. This is a cleaner version of that joke in the same way a horse is a bigger version of a dog. A man walks into a bar and orders 10 shots of whiskey. The bartender lines them up, and the man drinks shots 2 through 9. The bartender asks, why did you drink them like that? The man replies, the first one always tastes terrible, and the last one always gives me such a headache. A man walks into a bar, orders 10 shots. He proceeds to drink them as quickly as he can. On number 5 the bartender asks, what's with you drinking them so quickly? The man replies with, mate, if you had what I have you'd be drinking them like this too. The bartender, curious now, asks the man what he has that could be so bad. The man replied with, 35p. Bill worked in a pickle factory. He had been employed there for a number of years when he came home one day to confess to his wife that he had a terrible compulsion. He had an urge to stick his penis into the pickle slicer. His wife suggested that he should see a sex therapist to talk about it, but Bill indicated that he'd be too embarrassed. He vowed to overcome the compulsion on his own. One day a few weeks later, Bill came home absolutely ashen. His wife could see at once that something was seriously wrong. What's wrong, Bill? She asked. Do you remember that I told you how I had this tremendous urge to put my penis into the pickle slicer? Oh, Bill, you didn't. Yes, I did. My God, Bill, what happened? I got fired. No, Bill. I mean, what happened with the pickle slicer? Oh, she got fired too. That made me chuckle. A man is standing naked on a street corner. A cop walks up and tells him, sir, you can't be doing that here unless you have a good excuse. I am going to take you to jail. Yes sir, I have a good excuse. I was at my girlfriend's apartment, we started drinking, next thing you know she jumps up and says, let's get naked and go to town. I guess I beat her here. This is like NSFW, half dad joke. Far too much power behind one joke. It's an uncle joke. This one is long and weird, but please, bear with me. Little Jimmy walked into the kitchen to find his grandpa smoking cigarettes. Can I smoke a cigarette too? Asked Jimmy. Can your dick reach your own butthole? Asked Grandpa. No. Answered Jimmy. Then you are not old enough. Replied Grandpa. The next day, Jimmy walked into the kitchen to find his grandpa drinking beer. Can I drink some beer too? Asked Jimmy. Can your dick reach your own butthole? Asked Grandpa. No. Answered Jimmy. Then you are not old enough. Replied Grandpa. The next day, Grandpa found Jimmy eating cookies in the kitchen. Can I eat some cookies too? Asked Grandpa. Can your dick reach your own butthole? Asked Jimmy. It most certainly can. Answered Grandpa. Then go fuck yourself. Replied Jimmy. Is it normal to reach? Deleted. My colleague can no longer attend next week's innuendo seminar. I have to fill her slot instead. A lady walked into the store and asked me for a double entendre, so I gave it to her. The support group for folks who cannot achieve orgasm is Tuesday at 8 p.m. Please let us know if you can't come. A delivery man is making a delivery to an apartment building when a gorgeous woman answers the door in nothing but a bath towel. The man turns red at the sight and quickly looks down. She looks around and pulls the man inside. Sorry, I was so rough, I thought I heard someone coming, she says. Then the woman takes off the towel and presses herself against the man. She leans her lips to his ear and whispers in a sultry voice, "What do you think is the most impressive part of my body?" The man thinks for a moment and says, "Your ears." Clearly confused, the woman says, "My ears?" "Definitely," says the man. "When you said I thought I heard someone coming, that was me." Reminds me of a similar joke. A man knocks on the door to an apartment building when a gorgeous woman answers the door in nothing but a bath towel. "I was looking for your husband," he says. "But I tell you what, I'll give you $100 if you drop that towel." After giving it some thought, she shyly lets it slip and he beholds her body in all of its naked glory. After soaking in an eyeful, he nods and hands her $100. "See you later," he says, and leaves hurriedly. She grabs the towel and is wondering what just happened when her husband appears from the living room and spots the $100 bill in her hand. "Ah, that must have been Joe," he says. "And I see he's returned that $100 I lent him." Another similar joke. A mailman is going door to door on his last route ever. On the first door, the family inside gives him some homemade cookies. At the second door, the man inside gives him a $50 bill. At the third door, he is met by a fully nude blonde. She pulls him inside and makes love to him for an hour. Afterwards, she gives him eggs, sausage, and pancakes. After serving the meal, she hands him a dollar bill. "Thanks for everything, but may I ask why you're giving me $1?" he asks. The blonde replies, "Oh, last night I was talking to my husband about how today was your last day and how we should do something special for you. He said screw him, give him $1. The breakfast was my idea." Reminds me of a similar joke. A woman hears a knock on the door as she is about to get in the shower. She yells, "Who's there?" A man replies, "The blind man." Well, she thinks to herself, no need for a towel then, and goes to the door naked. Opening the door, the man just looks at her and says, "Nice tits, where do you want the blinds?"